Alright, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday and our events in March, or, I mean, not quite as many as we had in February, but still some great stuff going on. And this event, we didn't even have to send an email out to promote, like so many in February. I don't know, January and February, just two phenomenal months. You know you're going to get some of our best tastings, so you better keep an eye on the calendar of events, or this one sold out, like I said, like a month before the tasting. Vintage Brunello. Maybe we priced it too cheap. Yeah, that's what it was, $95. But hey, Brunello, you can still get for a song some of the greatest wines, some of the greatest vineyard sites you can still buy for under $100 a bottle. Just absolutely mind-boggling to me. And this is a small area. There's only 300 or less than 300 producers in Montalcino. Everybody operates at a very high level. We just got this La Serena Rosso di Montalcino in from 2009, which is the baby Brunello. You know, they make 3 wines in Montalcino. Reserva in great vintages, Brunello, which is their main wine, and then the Rosso, which is an entry level. It's meant to drink on release, a year after the release. The Brunello, they keep for 5 years by law, and in a great vintage, 10 to 15 years is what you need to put in your cellar. That's why we do this vintage Brunello tasting every year. Scientific research, folks, yes. And we found out again that, well, the winner not from the best vintage, but one of the best vineyard sites. That's the most important thing. When you get to any wine-producing region, the great producers from the great sites do not make bad wines. This Rosso di Montalcino, I don't even know why we're talking about it. Why we put it up here? Because at $14.75, quintessential Sangiovese. This wine sold out. I mean, at the tasting, and then we opened a few bottles in the store. We only had 5 or 6 cases, but the La Serena already gone. And like I said, one of the greatest examples of an entry-level Sangiovese, because by law, you can't blend in Montalcino. Rosso and Brunello both have to be 100% Sangiovese Grosso by law. So a great little entry-level wine. 09's drinking beautifully right now. So I recommend, if you want a quintessential Sangiovese from Tuscany, try Rosso di Montalcino. You can find a lot of stuff for $20 to $25. We have La Santa Restituta Renina and Sugarilla, talking about one of the greatest vineyard sites in Montalcino. Angelo Gaia owns this label today, and when he wanted to move in to Montalcino in 1990, started looking around properties. He went to what he thought was the greatest vineyard site, Gianfranco Soldero's Casi Bas Vineyard, and Gianfranco said, no, Angelo Gaia will not sell to you. So he found Roberto Bellini, the next door neighbor, and they became partners. And as of 1995, Angelo bought him out. It's all his. But 93, he was still involved in the winery, in production and sales. Let me tell you that 93, Sugaril and Renina, the 2 single vineyard wines, both, I mean, it was neck and neck for first place. We had this wine, the Renina got 9 votes for first place and 2 votes for second place. And then the Sugaril, 9 votes for first and 3 votes for second, just barely edging out the Renina. But both of these wines, fantastic. And 93 was not a great vintage, but like I said, a great producer. Just a lovely balance in both of these wines. Some lovely light cherry fruit there, fresh earth, sage, other dried herbs, some porcini mushroom, dried flowers. Really complex bouquet of aromas. The Renina, to me, is always a little bit lighter and more elegant. The Sugaril is more of a powerhouse, but these wines very close in terms of the bouquet of aromas. And like I said, the Sugaril just a little richer and definitely had a little more legs to it here. So both of these wines really showing the pedigree of this vineyard site. And in a vintage like 93, who would have thought, with vintages like 95, 97, and 2001 on the table, which are superior vintages, that this would be the wine of the night. But drinking at its peak, the 95 still could use a little bit of time. A great vintage in Montalcino. This Canelicchio di Sopra Reserva, a tiny production. Only a few hundred cases of this wine. Well, Canelicchio is a small property. Canelicchio di Sopra, because there is another Canelicchio. And this is getting a lot of press. These guys have, the last couple of years, considered one of the hottest properties. And this 95 we have for the same price as the current release of Reserva. Incredible. This wine's got great structure and balance, and those offering up a bouquet of spices, dried herbs, porcini mushroom, red cherry, plum fruit. Very elegant and refined on the tongue. That tart cherry fruit, array of earth and spice. And still some tannins here showing at the end, but wonderful acidity, wonderful balance and concentration, a long finish. This one got no votes at the end of the night, but I had to give it a vote for second. Saved by the Bell. I love Canelicchio, and a lot of great wine on the table. The 97 Col d'Orcia, classic Brunello, dried meats, herbs, sun-dried cherry, hints of black tar, spice to the nose, still quite youthful. 97, a warm year, so the wines came around rather early. That bright cherry fruit still a bit on the tongue with silky smooth tannins, and not quite as structured as the 95. This wine had a little bit of a rustic quality to it as well. This wine got 1 vote for first place. I thought it was still most excellent. The Count Zinzano does it again. Great stuff. And then the 1999 Frigiali Donna Olga. This is the top wine of the Centellani group, which is Frigiali and Pietranera. And this vineyard is located right above Angelo Gaia's, Pieve di Santa Restituta, and Gianfranco Soldera. And beautiful bouquet here. This 99 vintage, a lot of structure, fresh porcini, dark spices, dried flowers, sun-dried cherry fruit. Wonderful complexity here. This wine even better on the second day. The 99's a little tannic when they were released. Smooth and silky on the tongue. This wine's got a lot of earth and spice and dried floral notes. Wonderful freshness and intensity. This wine will last for another decade or more in your cellar easily. Got 2 votes for second place. The 2001 Livio Sassetti Pertemali had a really unique bouquet, kind of a smoked beef jerky-like note to the nose there. Very exotic, dried potpourri of flowers, and a good amount of rich cherry fruit here still. 2001, a phenomenal vintage in Montalcino. These wines still fairly young, but starting to drink nicely now. Really smooth and silky on the tongue. A nice amount of that red cherry and cassis-like berry fruit. That smoked beef jerky quality still there on the finish. Some tannins and wonderful structure here. This wine got 4 votes for second place. Excellent juice. Canalico de Sopra Reserva. Yep, that's right. 2-in-1 tasting. The 01. Still a lot of red berry fruit, dried herbs, porcinis, dried meats. Wonderful intensity on the nose. Even bigger on the second day. These 01s definitely needed more time to open up. Super rich on the tongue. Good amount of firm tannins here, but a lot of fruit, that red licorice spice and pretty floral notes, sweet herbs on the finish. Really thick. This wine needs some time. It has all the right stuff and in proportion. Very long finish. One of my favorite wines of the night. Got the second highest rating of the night for me. And then the Val di Cava 2003. And this wine, the last year when we showed it, didn't show very well. But this year, man, really intense bouquet. Right from the time we opened it up, this wild strawberry coulis, kind of pretty floral notes. Very exotic and spiced, almost incense-like on the nose. And just gets more intense as this wine opens up. Really smooth on the tongue. Still some tannins, though, in this wine. 03 was a hot year, but drinking really nicely after it opened up, and on the second day, even better. And wow. Well, Vincenzo tells you his wine will last you your entire life, and well, that's why I bought large bottles from both of my kids' birth years, 03 and 04. That's what we had to drink at our vintage Brunello tasting. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.